shock is a condition whereby the vital body organs are not getting enough supply of blood and oxygen. Why? Because there's internal bleeding. So that one is why we say the casualty requires immediate medical help. Now, when we come to external bleeding, the bleeding that you can see, again, for that we have two types of bleeding. We have minor and major. Now, minor bleeding is the one that mostly occurs at home. You've been cut by a knife, you've been grazed by a wall, what you're calling the abrasion, okay? Laceration, you have a tear either from your cut, has clawed you, the barbed wire fence, okay? Now, that one is minor bleeding. For that, we are not really worried about major bleeding. We are mainly worried about an infection. So for that, we say just clean the wound and apply a dressing. But now when it comes to major bleeding, that is what we refer to as life-threatening, whereby the bleeding is continuous, it is coming out in a large volume, and it is coming out in spurts. It is splashing. Okay? Now, there is where you need immediate first aid. If you delay, casualty will lose their life. Remember, we say that major bleeding is one of the most preventable deaths that we have. Okay? Because the steps that we take are very basic, very important, but very basic. Yeah? So the simple thing of stopping the bleeding is going to save a life.
So say somebody is breathing heavily, you know, and at some point they lose so much blood and they become unconscious, but you're also trying to, you know, do first aid on them. So do you start with, first of all, stopping the bleeding or trying to just bring them back to consciousness? What is the first thing to do? Stop the bleeding or try and bring them back?
Now, when you talk about bringing them back, because when we say that a casualty is unconscious, we have two types of unconscious casualty. We have an unconscious casualty who is breathing and an unconscious casualty who is not breathing. Okay, so the one who is not breathing is the one that we go ahead with CPR. Okay, but even as you're starting on your CPR,
the one who is not breathing is dead, Brenda.
No. We do not declare death as a first aider. Okay, that is the #1 rule that we have. The only person who declares death is a doctor. Okay. So if you find someone who is not breathing, instead of writing them off, then we start what we call CPR, which are the chest compressions that we see people give. Okay. But if you find someone who is not bleeding and they are not breathing, it's as simple as wherever you find the bleeding, immediately tie something to apply pressure, okay, or get a bystander to come and apply pressure as you continue with your CPR. Because without the CPR, our casualty is going to die. But if we don't stop the bleeding, again, our casualty is going to bleed out. Yeah. So there we have to find a way of trying to do both of them at the same time. But as I've said, #1, stop the bleeding by applying pressure, find a piece of cloth, tie where the blood is coming out, and then move to where you need to do the CPR.
So step by step, is that the first thing that somebody needs to do, you know, when you're a first responder at a scene of accident? What is the step by step? Is it just applying pressure or what else needs to be done?
Okay. When we talk about giving first
aid. And Brenda, I want to know what is in this bag.
In this bag, okay.
You're not